facilitation. This week, we will strictly focus on revision of the things we have done so far in PHY 205, Introduction to Space Physics. We'll look at each week from week 1 to week 7, what we have done, and to try to revise them one by one. In week 1, we have learned that astronomy is the study of the universe and the celestial bodies, gas, and the dust within it. Okay? Then we also learned that the term astronomer and astrophysicist are basically identical. And also, astronomy has a long tradition of practical results, such as our current understanding of the stars, day and night, the seasons, and the phases of the moon. Now, we also learned that the reason why we have day and night is because of the rotation and revolution of the Earth. Okay? We also learned that the solar system consists of a central star orbited by the planets and other rocky bodies. In our solar system, the central star is the sun, and it holds all the planets, including the Earth, in their orbits, and provides light and energy necessary for life. We also learned that in order of increasing distances from the sun, the planets in our solar system are Mercury, Venus, Earth, that's the planet we live in, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. We also learned that comets and asteroids are rocky and icy bodies that are smaller than the planets. The distinction between comets and asteroids and other small bodies in the solar system is a little fuzzy. Sometimes not very clear, but generally, a comet is icier than an asteroid and has a more elongated orbit. Okay? Then we also learned that the first law states that, the first Kepler's law states that each planet moves in an elliptical orbit with the sun at one focus of the ellipse. Okay? Then in week 2, we learned that all television coverage travels by satellite. That is under satellites. Now today, reaching directly to the home from space. That is what we learned. We also learned that the satellite in a geostationary Earth orbit, that's GEO, revolves around the Earth in the plane of the equator once in 24 hours, maintaining precise synchronization with the Earth's rotation. Thirdly, we also learned that there are 2 other classes of 24-hour orbits, the geosynchronous orbit and the highly elliptical synchronous orbits. Okay, and I believe you remember this very vivid. Then the purpose of the aircraft transponder is to add the identification of the aircraft and actively enhance the power to be reflected back to the radar transmitter. And then we also learned that a spacecraft is the actual piece of hardware that is okay. Sorry for the network failure there. Now, I was saying that in week 2, the spacecraft is the actual piece of hardware that is launched into orbit to become an artificial satellite for the purpose of providing the radio repeater station. We learned that in week 2 also. Okay. Now, we also learned that the behavior of a satellite in orbit follows Kepler's laws of planetary motion. You remember that. Then the property which a satellite network provides via links between users is called connectivity. And also we learned that the 3 generic forms of connectivity are point-to-point, point-to-multipoint, and multi-point interactive. Okay. Then in week 3, we learned that atmospheric science is an umbrella term for the study of atmosphere. That is, for the study of the atmosphere, its processes, the effects other systems such as the oceans have on the atmosphere, and the effects of the atmosphere on these other systems. Okay. Then meteorology includes atmospheric chemistry and atmospheric physics with a major focus on weather forecasting. Then we also said that climatology is the study of atmospheric changes, both long and short term, that define average climates and their change over time due to both natural and anthropogenic climatic variability. Okay. Then we also learned that aeronomy is the study of the upper layers of the atmosphere, where dissociation and ionization are important. Here we also learned that the troposphere begins at the Earth's surface and ends up to 4 to 12 miles. That is the different layers of the atmosphere. The first layer is the troposphere, followed by the stratosphere, and then the thermosphere. We also have the exosphere. All of them are different layers of the atmosphere. Okay. Now in week 5, we also learned that clouds are formed by rising, expanding, and cooling. Okay, I hope you remember that also. And we said that clouds occur due to surface heating and free convection. We also said that uplift along topography, including mountains, also from clouds. And then we said clouds also they also occur due to widespread ascent to convergence of surface air. And we also said clouds occur due to uplift along weather fronts. Then we said also that thunderstorms are very tall clouds that extend from near the ground up to and often slightly above the top of the troposphere. That's the bottom layer of the atmosphere. Okay, all that. Then also in week 6, we learned that a rocket is a device which propels itself by emitting a jet of matter. Now the momentum carried away by the jet results in a force acting so as to accelerate the rocket in the direction opposite to that of the jet. We learned that. I hope you remember that very well also. Then we also said that a rocket carries both its fuel and its oxidizer and needs not take intake of air to operate. Also learned that the rocket principle is the basis of all propulsion in space and all launched vehicles. Okay. Then in week 7, we learned that modern cosmologists base their theories on astronomical observations, physical concepts, such as quantum mechanics, and an element of imagination and philosophy. And we said the current standard model of the origin of the universe is called the Big Bang theory. This proposes that a major event, not unlike a huge explosion, set free all the matter and energy in the universe and started its expansion. We also learned that the steady state theory says that the universe has always looked more or less the same as it does now, and that it does not change over time. Also learn that the international space laws arises from treaties and customs. And custom is defined as general principle of international laws embodied in a treaty, but observed and considered binding by civilized nations. And a system of international law is in the general interest of all nations. It permits business to interact, travel to take place, and cooperation to ensue in healthcare areas. Okay, all these we learned in the course of these studies. So I expect you to learn everything we study, everything we learn from week 1 to today. Look at the revision, study it very well, answer all the self-assessment exercises I gave you, and attempt all the tutored marked assignments, that's the TMAs. And if you have any problem, you can send me a mail. You see my email at the first cover page of this Zoom meeting. So please, I expect you to do that. And if you do that,